Hi, family and friends. Is my mother here somewhere? Where is everybody? Oh my God, where is she?
Mike's not on.
Good morning, everybody. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to make you jump. Good morning, family and Southside friends and veterans, and I'm so glad. This has been a wonderful experience, calling everybody and hearing old stories, and I hope everyone gets a chance to talk to each other today. I'm really, really proud to be here. Hi. And I'm really glad that my mother could be here, my Uncle Joe, my Aunt Selena, my Aunt Teresa, all my relatives and friends, to honor my father. I just want to say that for a lot of years, I knew that my father was a decorated World War II veteran, but I had no idea the extent of his World War II history because, like most of you that are out there, you veterans, nobody talked about it much. And then I met my friend John. We were sitting at a committee meeting and he had a portfolio in front of him, and I said, oh, my father's got one of those. I think he's got two of those. I think he has three of those. And John said to me, have you ever put the history together? Have you ever looked at this? And I really hadn't. The medals were in drawers. They were on top of the refrigerator. You know, they were all over the house. I had a few framed, that's it. So we started to put the history together, and it was a 2-year journey. My cousin Tommy, where are you? Very emotional journey. And so if you want to, afterwards, we're going over to La Cucino's, Tony Sentais, and actually I put the medals out there, so they're framed and they're out there if you care to take a look at them. I'm going to turn this over to my friend John Mullen, who is a Vietnam veteran and a military historian, and then we're going to hear from a few more people.
Thank you.
Cousin Tom, there you are, brother. What's up?
Good morning. Mrs. Sarah Marnell, my dear friend Sandra, members of the Marnell family, dignitaries and Amsterdam city officials, honored guests, fellow veterans and friends. We have all come here this morning to pay tribute to a true American hero, Sergeant First Class Richard Marnell. Sergeant Marnell was certainly the cream of America's greatest generation. Abraham Lincoln once said, any nation that does not honor its heroes will not long endure. As a veteran myself, I am extremely proud of Amsterdam today for honoring such an extraordinary soldier and hero. Let me be very clear. It was Sergeant Marnell's actions on the battlefields of Europe in the 1940s that set him apart from all the other soldiers in his elite unit and in this city. According to his daughter Sandra, her dad was always a risk taker, and that's what he did. But he was also really big on being responsible, which was typical for the World War II generation, I might add. How many times have we all stood and held hands and asked God to bless America? Well, in my humble opinion, God did just that when he gave us men the likes of Richard Marnell. In great numbers and exactly at the hour of our greatest need. In World War II, failure was not an option. A couple of years ago, I sat in a high school classroom in Waterville and listened to a student ask two other American heroes of World War II, Robert Gusberti and Sheldon Jones, if they ever considered surrender. I want you to think about that for a minute. What would our lives look like today if we didn't have men with the courage, strength, determination of Richard Marnell? And surrender was a real option to be considered. Just the thought of that frightens me. Amsterdam is right to hold up such men as role models for our youth today. It is right and just. This morning, let us thank God for his many blessings on America, and let us vow here today to always honor our war heroes. My prayer every morning is to thank God for my life and veterans like Richard Marnell for my way of life. Freedom is not free and never has been, and must be defended from time to time with our blood and treasure. May God continue to shower his blessings on us in America, and may we be worthy of those blessings as one nation under God with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Thank you. There are a few more people who want to say a few words. I know Joe Emanuele is here somewhere. He was mayor at the time, and he kind of started this. Do I see him walking by? No? You're okay? Yes, could you tell me you wanted to say a few words? Or make it brief?
I'll make it real brief. I just,
But I want to thank you.
I think John Mullen said it all, and I wasn't prepared to make any kind of speech, but I know that when this was brought to my attention by John and Sandra, I did the thing that I thought was best. The common sense thing to do was to honor Richard, and on this day, I'm glad it's finally come 10 years later. We're all here to dedicate to one of the country's greatest distinguished veterans. So I'm very proud here today to say to be with the family, but it's all about Sergeant Richard Marnell. Thank you.
Would you please introduce some people?
Yes. Okay. Next up is Miss Brittany Zimmerman from Senator George Amador's office.
Thank you. I am Senator George Amador's Montgomery County District Coordinator. He couldn't make it today. He's recovering from back surgery, but he did send me with a proclamation to read to the Marnell family. Proclamations are given to those individuals who achieve outstanding excellence in their lives, and Richard Marnell was one of those people. He led a life of lasting significance, and so it's really an honor for me to be here today to read this proclamation to all of you. Whereas a state is only as great as its citizens, and New York State is amongst the greatest in the nation thanks to its individual residents and their unwavering commitment to improving our quality of life. Our nation and our state would not be the place it is today without the service of those in the armed forces. And whereas American patriots have stepped forward to serve our country and defend our way of life with honor and distinction, generations of servicemen and women have taken up arms to win our independence, preserve our union, and secure our freedom. And whereas Technical Sergeant Richard Marnell is one such individual, he is Amsterdam's most decorated World War II veteran. His character reflects our enduring American spirit, and in his example, we find inspiration and strength. And whereas Richard was a technical sergeant with General Patton's 3rd Army, earning a total of 14 medals and commendations, including 2 Purple Hearts and the Distinguished Service Cross, the nation's 2nd highest award for heroism. And whereas Richard assisted in many war victories, including the liberation of the city of Chartres, the palaces of the Fontainebleau, and the city of Reims. He participated in the assault on the fortified city of Metz, fought through German towns and captured Frankfurt. He helped liberate concentration camps and was a part of ending the war in Czechoslovakia. And whereas Richard passed away September 21st, 1970, leaving a lasting legacy of selflessness, honor, and inspiration, now therefore be it resolved that Technical Sergeant Richard Marnell be honored for his dedicated service to the United States Armed Services, and be it further resolved that a copy of this proclamation be transmitted to Technical Sergeant Richard Marnell's family. Thank you.
The family asked me to make a few remarks to kind of give you a little perspective on what the Distinguished Service Cross really means. Before I do, though, we have another presentation. And I'd like to also acknowledge the contributions of the members of the Amsterdam Veterans Commission, Joe Pep, President, Bill Liberis, Vice President. We have several other members here today, in addition to Alderman Leggero, who is the liaison from the Common Council to the Amsterdam Veterans. They raised the money that finally we were able to use to purchase the street marker. But before I make any other comments, attention to orders. The City of Amsterdam, State of New York, to all who shall see these presents, greeting. Her Honor the Mayor, on behalf of the people and City of Amsterdam, has this day awarded the Veteran Service Medal to Richard L. Marnell for extraordinary heroism and devotion to duty while serving as platoon sergeant, Company E, 2nd Battalion, 11th Infantry, 5th Infantry Division during the period April 1943 to September 1945 in the European Theater of Operations. Sergeant Marnell was in continuous combat from Normandy in July 1944 to Czechoslovakia in May 1945, accepting his recuperation from 3 separate woundings. His actions in the assault on the fortified city of Metz protected the lives of his subordinates while advancing the force of American arms, and was recognized by this award of the Distinguished Service Cross. Sergeant Marnell's leadership, valor, and concern for his men, as well as the mission, were in keeping with the highest traditions of the armed forces of the United States, and reflected great credit upon himself, the military service, and the city of Amsterdam. This posthumous award is made by special action of the Amsterdam Veterans Commission, given under my hand in the city of Amsterdam this 3rd day of May, 2015, and the 130th year since the chartering of the city. Signed, Ann M. Thane, Mayor, City of Amsterdam. Countersigned, Joe Pep, Jr., Chairman, Veterans Commission. And Joe will now present another.
I just wanted to say that I am pleased, proud, and honored to serve this Amsterdam Veteran Service Award to Mrs. Marnell. Thank you.
I could give you some numbers to try to put what the Distinguished Service Cross is into perspective. Of the 20 to 25,000 men who served in the 5th Infantry Division during World War II, one won the Medal of Honor. Only 34 won the Distinguished Service Cross. By its very criteria, you almost have to be under consideration for the Medal of Honor to be considered for the Distinguished Service Cross. And you've all seen in the papers and heard again today the incredible act of valor. There's another perspective to this too, though. Even though he was only 20 years old at the time, he was the old man of his platoon. There's a saying in the Army that sergeants and captains are the backbone of the Army. They're the ones who really make the difference between who lives and who dies, whether we win or whether we lose. And I've always thought that, I've always thought it was very interesting. One thing you'll never see in an Army or Navy or Marine Corps, Air Force, military citation, is the word fearlessness. Because the only people who aren't afraid on the battlefield are crazy. It's the rare person who's able to go beyond their fear, to conquer their fear, and in this case, stand up in front of a weapon that could have instantly vaporized him, turned him into nothing more than red mist. That day, the Germans, the elite fortress troops at Metz, were turning anti-aircraft guns against our personnel. And this platoon sergeant, who 44 lower-ranking men turned to for leadership, was the one who stood up and took them on. Because he knew not only was the mission in his hands, the lives of his subordinates were in his hands also. And so that's what's really the most remarkable, not the achievement, not the medal, but just that raw act of courage and selflessness in a 20-year-old to stand up under that kind of opposition. And yet, after that, to keep going, all the way to Czechoslovakia. There's a great cartoonist, but before he was a cartoonist, Bill Malden was a reporter for the Stars and Stripes. And he said, if you want to know what it's like to be an infantryman, go in your backyard, dig a hole, let it fill up with cold water, pour mud down your back. Do that for 3 days, and don't sleep because you're pretending somebody's going to hit you in the back of the head or set your house on fire so you can't sleep. Then get out of your hole, pick up a suitcase full of rocks and a shotgun and find the muddiest road you can find, walk down that road. And every 30 or 40 feet, throw yourself face down in the dirt because you're looking out for meteors that are falling out of the sky for you. Once you've done that, day after day for several months, you can begin to understand what it's like to be an infantryman, except for things when they really, really get tough. And that's what that day, 15 November 1944, in Metz was all about. The one man who stood up and said, I'll do this. I go forward because each step is a step closer home for me and my men. So think about that. It's not just the medal, it's not just the man, it's the courage, yes, it's also the selflessness, the leadership. Sandra? Will you help me unveil a marker?
And please know that Ron speaks for not just my father, but all you guys here. You know who you are. All of you. And all of the names on that monument. So thank you very much. What are we doing?
We're going to unveil.
Oh,
Bruce, Bill, Alderman, would you like to come up?
all right, what is this?
Mayor Emanuele? This is, we're going to, by the way, this is I picked an interesting cover today. This is a poncho liner. When you can't afford to carry a sleeping bag because it weighs too much, you carry one of these. So it's very appropriate. So do you want to take one? Sure.
Because he would have been mad at me for doing this. So I know what that was about. Thank you very much. Okay, so this will be right over there at the end of the street?
Yep.
Okay. Right across from where Petra's used to be, right down the street from Perks, and then down the street from Carl's. So welcome. Now, I did put the medals over there at Black Cucino's, so you could go take a look at them. And I have photographs and things that I'm going to get out of my truck and put out there, just old photographs and stuff for you guys to look at. But also, my grandmother saved every single recorder article about veterans in Amsterdam, or kids who enlisted, who were missing in action, etc. So they're posted over there too. I don't know if Tony's here. Tony's getting things ready over there. So please take a walk over there and look around, see what's there, and join us. And I thank you all very much for being here. Thank you very much for all of this swag. Take pictures? Yeah, I should take a picture of it, huh? Take a picture. Will you give me the picture?
Where's Joe anyway?
You gonna come up here? Oh, yeah, get Uncle Joey here, please. Or can't we bring it over there?
Did you get it all? Yeah. Just